Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Thank you so much, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to today's seminar. You are most welcome. Yes, and I want to say thank you to everybody for taking our time to join us, and I welcome us. The seminar is brought to us by the Golden Mavis Fat Academy. And for those of us that are new to the academy or our other academies, Golden Mavis Fat is an online academy that is in the business of trainings and development. We are into career boost and skills acquisition. Just a brief introduction of who we are. And we need to let you know that we operate on the wings of La Plague Metaverse. We are here particularly this hour to talk about, to discuss, and much more to learn and to understand our temperament. And not just our temperament, the temperaments of others around us also. My job tonight is actually to just encourage us, to charge us, and to prepare our minds for what we are here to do tonight. For tonight's seminar, I am not here alone. You are welcome. Those of us that are joining us, you are welcome. Thank you for joining. I would like to, first of all, appreciate the presence of the Academy representative, Mr. Olamide Falusi. You are welcome. Thank you so much. Mr. Falusi has been a great support to the Academy. I welcome you. Thank you so much. God bless you for all you do. We want to say one word so that everybody knows who am I talking about. That's Mr. Olamide Falusi. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you. All right. I also want to welcome my dear friend, my dear beautiful friend and colleague. As a matter of fact, she's also my boss, my guy at the top, so to say. I want to welcome personally my personal person, my blood, my friend, Ambassador Aduke Olatunji. Ambassador Aduke is also a facilitator and a coordinator. He's a VIP too, for those that understand that. In fact, she's the director of Gamma Training Academy, and I know that most of us, if not all of us, welcome to those that are joining us, because I can see that people are joining. Welcome. Feedback. Ambassador Aduke is the director, the coordinator, the facilitator of Gamma Training Academy. I know most of us, we know her very well. Thank you so much for joining. I know that you have a lot to do today, particularly that you are here. Thank you so much. Your video is not on. I wanted to show your face, but yeah, in the course of the seminar, we will do that. And yes, I'm also here tonight with my very own mentor, a friend, someone I respect so much and appreciate a lot for his contributions to Golden Mavis Fat. I mean, he's not just here tonight as a friend or a mentor, he's actually facilitating with me. I want to welcome with joy and gladness in my heart, Professor Onora Oguno, Professor Azubike. Professor Azubike is the Secretary of the International Public Law Society in Nigeria and the Deputy Secretary of the Nigerian Society of International Law. He is one of the coordinators of an international research collaboration of the Law and Society Association. Admin, please, you have to help me meet the people that are not muted so that we are. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. You are welcome. Thank you so much. Yes, okay. So before I hand over to Professor Azubike, who will be taking us through the slides for tonight, I just want to quickly charge us and prepare our minds for what we are here to do. Like I said, the topic of tonight's seminar is understanding temperament, and we specifically said is an effective way of living with everyone. Temperament, when we hear the word temperament, what do we understand? It's actually the way in which each person, individual, reacts to his or her world. Professor Azubike is going to go into details what we need to know and understand about it. It extremely beneficial for every one of us to understand what our temperament is and the temperament of people around us, because nobody's an island. We all have to interact. We all have to be in communication. We all have to be in relationships with people around us. You can't live your life alone. And people have different characters. People have different personalities. People have different ways they react to the same circumstance. Have you ever wondered why two people react to the same situation in different ways? Meanwhile, that particular situation or circumstance probably looks like something that should have, the same reaction. Is because people have different temperaments. And because we also know that, excuse me, we have to admit, you really have work to do. You are welcome, those that are joining us. You are welcome. Thank you for joining. Understanding temperament cuts across all spheres of life. Whatever your career is, whoever you are, we all have temperaments. And you need to understand your person, your personality, your temperament to be able to understand yourself. And you need to understand when you see somebody behave in a particular way, you need to understand why the person is like that. There is good in everyone, and there is the other side of good in everyone. So you need to understand why it's like that. As a parent, when you understand your children's temperament, it helps you to help them develop better. It helps healthy development. As siblings, when you understand the temper, because for the fact that you are siblings, you are born of the same parents, doesn't mean you have the same characters. Of course, we all know this. But if you are in a family, as siblings, when you understand one another's temperament, it helps and it promotes sibling bonds and love. You will just know that, oh, that's her temperament. That's why she's like that. So you will not see her as you not see him or her as a bad person. That's how she reacts. That's how she behaves. Then you will try to see how you can walk along and grow along with such a person. Thank you for joining. Those of us that are joining us now, thank you so much. We're talking about.
Sorry, ma. Sorry for interrupting.
Yes.
Please, can we respectfully mute our mics so that we can hear ourselves clearly for decorum and orderliness, please? Let's mute our mics. Those of us that are joining in now, please, can we just mute our mics so that we can have decorum and orderliness for this online seminar? We don't want any interruptions. Thank you so much, please.
Thank you so much, Rep. That's our academic rep is doing his work. Thank you so much. What I'll do now is, I think I know I can identify some people that are good with, just give me a few minutes that are good with Zoom. I'm going to make them co-hosts without their permission because I know I have the right to do that. So please help me. Then I'm going to set the settings on mute on entry if that's going to work. Because some people actually enter without knowing that they're yes. Okay, for now, I'll mute everyone if that's possible. Then when it's time. Okay. Once you are muted, you remain muted. Okay, thank you. If I forget to unmute everybody and we need to talk, please, admin, send me a message because I may forget. Like I have some messages here. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, thank you, Mujisola Jenny Brown. Thank you so much for joining, and those that have joined and I didn't remember to welcome you. Thank you so much. Temi, you are welcome. Toyin, you are welcome so much. Yes, I was just saying, for those of us that joined later, I was talking about the importance of understanding temperament. And I said it cuts across all spheres of life. Wherever you are, whatever category you belong to, we're talking about helping siblings to develop and promote love and bonds among them. Because when you understand the temperament of the people around you, then it's easier for you to work with them. Among colleagues, when you understand the temperament of your colleagues at work, I tell you there will be less tension. Because I'm not the one that is going to take us through the slides tonight. I'm just going to charge us, like I said, to prepare us for what we are going to to what we are expecting. If a teacher understands the temperament, especially in this part of the world where I belong, where I live, rather, and I know it's cut across everywhere. If a teacher understands the temperament of his or her students, I tell you, you won't treat your students the same way, because you will know that this is how he or she is, and you will, of course, handle such. It helps to promote healthy and more productive learning. At a higher level, even when the students also understand their teachers, then they would know that, oh, this is why it's like this. Caregivers, we know that's a very common term now in the present age. When you understand the temperament of your patient, for those that are caregivers among us that I can recognize, it even promotes more effective service. It helps you to understand that this is this person, just like you understand the illness or the sickness of a patient, then you know the medication to admit. It's the same thing. Even among friends, when you understand the temperament of friends, it promotes more healthy friendship. So there is no category you belong to that you do not need this particular seminar. You need to understand. I know some of us, we've heard about this temperaments from different places. We've had lectures, we've had even in churches, in mosques, we've had lectures about it. We probably have known about it, but how well do we now understand it? For tonight also, we need to prepare to understand that there is no good or bad temperament. It's all about balancing. Understanding it will actually help us to minimize, because there is no temperament that does not have its weaknesses and its strengths. That's why there is no good or bad temperament. When you understand this temperament, the weaknesses and its strengths, then it will help you to balance it. Then you will now know that, yes, indeed, there is good in bad and there is bad in good. It is actually believed that every one of us has the 4 temperaments. I will leave it to Professor Azubike to give us the details of the types of temperament that we have and how they play out. In every person, we have the 4 temperaments in varying degrees of strength and weaknesses. It is researched that each person has a dominant temperament out of the 4, for we have 4. There's a dominant one, there's a secondary one, and the other 2 are less significant. So tonight, when you begin to hear what is being said about this temperament, and it looks like you are confused, the aim and the objectives of this particular seminar is for you to discover, if you have not discovered your temperament, and to understand it, and to see yourself and say, okay, this is why I'm like this. And to also know your limits, to know your weakness and your strength. When you know your weakness, you can actually pipe it down. And you know your strength, then you can work on it to be a better person. And I also need you to understand that maybe you are hearing about this temperament tonight and their characteristics, and you are wondering, where do I belong? Am I this? Am I a choleric? Am I melancholy, phlegmatic, or am I a sanguine? And you're like, am I confused? Just know that growing up and the environment in which we grow up has a way of reshaping us. And also, because there are some temperaments that are dominant, there are some that are of little significance, you need to understand why and how each of these temperaments has played out in your life. For those of us that are religious, you also need to know that religion has a way of also reshaping us. I mean, as a Christian, for example, if you know that you have the anger temper, and you want to work on it, it's not because you don't have that temperament again, but it's because your belief has helped you to pipe it down. So tonight, I want you to keenly be attentive. Ask questions. When you need to ask questions, you can raise your hand with the icon, or you can wave your hand if you don't know how to use the icon for raising hands. And get your mind empowered, because that's our goal at Movies Fat Academy, to empower minds. I will gladly now like to hand over to dear mentor, Professor Azubike, who will be taking us through the slides. But before then, I want to use this opportunity to welcome again, especially my co-facilitators from other other academy. Thank you so much for joining, and and also my great, we call ourselves great minds. I want to welcome all the great minds here, all our participants. Excuse me, we don't call ourselves students because we are all partners in learning and we are participants in our courses and trainings. So if you can virtually put your hands together and join me to welcome Professor Azubike as he takes us through the slides. You are so welcome, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Funke. Welcome, everyone. So maybe just to lay some ground rules, what we are going to be having today is an interactive session. Pardon my voice. We are going to be having an interactive session. We are going to be treating this classroom like a laboratory. And if you understand what a laboratory is, it is a place where you mix different reagents, different chemicals, where you do trial and error to try to see the end product you come up with. So the first thing I want us also to note, please, I don't know if we have a pen and at least a sheet of paper with us, because we are going to be doing a lot of exercises. And at some point during the presentation, I'm going to break us into rooms and give us group exercises to help us, because what we are talking about today, it's purely a very practical concept. It's purely something that we need to reflect our minds on and be able to really understand how this has impacted us. So while I try to share my screen, I encourage you to get a pen and a paper, okay? Yeah. Good. So maybe I will start, first of all, to ask us, who understands what a temperament is? If you have a prior understanding of what temperament is, please can you raise your hand and then you will be unmuted to make an intervention. I promise you I will spend more than 45 minutes for the lecture while we take our time to have very interactive sessions. So who knows? Yes, Precious, you want to say something? Admin, please can you unmute Precious for me? I will call you out of turn and get you to say something, so nobody is going to keep quiet in this class. Yes, Mafiana Precious, what do you understand by temperaments?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, thank you.
It's a pleasure meeting you on board. For me, I may be right, I may be wrong. I feel temperament is your ability to control your emotions, either at bad times or good time, and the ability to be able to adjust to every situation around you at any given time.
Okay, so Precious says that temperament is your ability to control your emotions, your ability to know how to react at a very particular time. Okay, I saw Simon wanted to say something. Please, admin, can you unmute him for me?
Okay.
Thank you, Precious, for that intervention. Yes, I see Dr. Uche's hand is up. Can you unmute Dr. Uche for me?
Yeah, thank you. I think that temperament is what makes us to, that quality that makes us to behave in a particular way. While I don't intend to delve into what we are delving into, but I'm thinking that in the layman's point of view, we have our individual mannerisms, idiosyncrasies that is here. So I think that makeup, whether we can call it psychological, emotional, and so forth, that makes one to behave the way they want to or see things from a particular point of view. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Uche. So you will all agree with me that the distinction between Uche's perspective and Precious' perspective is the place of what makes us. In Precious' perspective, how we react. In Uche's perspective, what makes us. So the perspective we are adopting today is actually beyond you and I. It is not what I make, but it is what makes me. In other words, we are trying to say that it is innate, it is built in us. That is the way God has created us. Now, I will sound a note of caution there that even if it is how God has created us, it does not mean we cannot assist ourselves. It does not mean we cannot work extra hard to try to relate. And that is why we are saying, how do we effectively live in harmony, right? So if I understand that this is how this person is made, how do I adjust to be able to live with this person? How does this person also make a conscious effort to adopt to be able to live with me? So here I have a diagram that speaks about 4 major kinds of temperaments. This is a psychological perspective based on the study of scholars like Sigmund Freud and a few others. And you see the strength of a melancholic person. You see the strength of a phlegmatic person. You see the strength of a sanguine. And you see the strength of a choleric. That means that the 28 of us in this room today, we have people in these various divides. So already, I want you to write in your notes, looking at these strengths, what you think you are. Write in your notes, am I playful? Am I easygoing? Am I carefree? Am I hopeful? Am I contented? Write in your notes, who am I? Am I excitable? Am I egocentric? Am I impulsive? Am I rigid? Do I like it the way it is? Do I love routines? Am I a choleric? Oh, I easily get worried. I get suspicious. I'm thoughtful. I want to do things myself. If I'm not doing it myself, I believe it's not being done rightly, you know. So make this note from this strength. So these are the major areas I've been driving us to. And already, so it's an aspect of our personality, which deals with our emotions, reactions, speed, intensity, prevailing mood, and pattern of a person. Remember that from the intervention of Uche and Precious, we agree that in as much as it is how we react, it is also what is built in us. It deals largely our individual experiences, our environment, and how we regulate response to our environment. So when I speak of environment here, I talk about your classroom, I talk about your family, I talk about your workplace, I talk about your church, I talk about the marketplace. You know, sometimes you will go to the market and you will see a woman selling tomatoes and you try to say, oh, madam, can I get this for 200 naira instead of 400 naira? And then she will bust out at you. Go away from here. How can you be pressing me? And then you're wondering, but I just asked the question. Sometimes in the markets, you might be walking and you step on somebody. Even before you say sorry to the person looks at you and says, oh, it's okay, don't worry, just take it easy. Then another person immediately wants to start a fight. So these are the environments that we talk about. This is what your temperament gets you into. So here I have outlined the types of temperament and their key structures. The choleric is action-oriented. He likes to get things done. You know, he applies so much energy, his heart to achieving things, loves looking out for challenges. There are deep thinkers. They are compassionate people. They are great humanitarians. These people are melancholic in nature. We have the sanguine guys. You know, the people we call the Charlie champions. You meet him today, you think you've met him for the last 100 years. It's an interesting fellow. He doesn't take anything to heart. You know, it's very easy for him to deal with things around him. And we have the phlegmatic. Now, you look at my background in these slides, and I chose this background intentionally because you will see the interconnectedness. You will see the dots leading to one another. Because like Ambassador Funke had told us earlier in her introductory remark, perhaps every individual has a little of each of these four temperament styles. Perhaps what we have is dominance. So maybe I am dominantly a melancholic person, but in certain attitudes, find a sanguine nature. So the next assignment I want to give you is on your paper. Looking at these characteristics, over 100%, I want you to write what you think it's your dominance. Over 100%. Am I 50% choleric? Am I 20% melancholic? Am I 10% phlegmatic? Write it. Please, I want all of us to do this assignment. Don't forget that very soon I will break you into rooms. And when I break you into rooms, you're going to discuss. And then you're going to appoint somebody that will present the findings from your room to the class. So everybody will hear. Good. If we are done with that assignment, I'll progress. Emotionally, how do these various temperament styles operate? Emotionally, those of us that are married, I want you to begin to think of your spouse. Those of us that are unmarried, I want you to begin to think of your dates and begin to think, even in your office, how does your boss react? Is he a quick thinker? Is he an effective influencer? Is he competitive? You know, I have a son that if he's playing a game and immediately he loses, he wants to scatter the game. He wants it to start afresh again. And the siblings will be like, what is your problem? Why are you doing this? And no, I can't lose. If you're a football fan, before this class, I was watching Tottenham versus Chelsea. You could see Anthony Conte and you could see Tuchel fighting. Think of Jose Mourinho. So I want you to be thinking of real life experiences. Think of our political space. Think of somebody like Tinubu. Think of somebody like P2B. Think of somebody like Atiku Abubakar. Think about influencers in your circle. Think about Davido. Think about Kiss Daniel. Think about Ronaldo. If Ronaldo is on the field of play, I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan, and my son was telling me some days ago, yesterday after Man U lost, he said Man U was playing very well until Ronaldo came, because everybody wants to give the ball to Ronaldo. Ronaldo is a competitive person. He's independent. He's easily annoyed. People argue against him. They say, oh, when he scores, he's not a team player. He thinks he's done it himself. He plays his free kick. You know, the melancholic person, he doesn't talk so much. He uses his words. He doesn't use his words. He uses actions. He wants to do things. You know, so think of your husband when he was coming for you. Does this, you know, I hear ladies says, oh, this person is very consistent. He finds out what I need. He doesn't let me say it, he does it. The melancholic person finds a space in an environment and he tries to fill it. He doesn't wait for people, you know, they observe. I've described the sanguine person as the smooth talkers. They can talk you for life. They can tell you what you want to hear. They can sweep you off your feet. But immediately they are out of the scene, forget it. And that is why these things are important. When that smooth talker comes your way, you need to begin to observe. Will this person be consistent with me? If things change, will this person stay with me? Because these things make a whole lot of importance in our marriage relationships, in our work relationship. Your colleague comes to you and he promises you heaven and earth. He's ready to do this for you. He's ready to do that for you. But is he saying it because he's just being impulsive? Is he saying it because he's just excited about the spur of the moment? Would you go? Some people will tell you, I beg, grab what you can grab. If the person is not there again, the person is not there. Then you talk about the phlegmatic person. He loves peace. He's easygoing. You know, he values peace. He wants to stay in a passive role and gets things done. Okay, so these things are very basic things that it is very important for us to begin to understand. Remember, in our emotional relationships, in our marriages, in our workplace, in our dealings with our parents, in our dealings with our siblings, you know, you don't want to find yourself always at loggerheads with your siblings, fighting. And the person doesn't even see this as anything, right? So here I've put up a quote and I say, have patience with all things. but chiefly have patience with yourself. Do not lose courage. Do not lose courage in considering your own imperfections, but instantly set and remind yourselves every day begins the task anew. Now, what I try to bring out from here is to make us understand that in all we are saying today, we are not teaching you, we are not empowering you to begin to profile people. We are not encouraging you to begin to say, oh, this is the type of person Asubike is, so I will leave him to himself. No, that way you're not living in harmony. What we are teaching you is to, first of all, introspectively look at yourself. Discover who you are. Because it is in discovering your personality that you're going to be able to relate with the other persons. Remember, it's a string. So when I understand that I am in a team and my team leader is simply being energetic. Maybe, I don't know, some of you, when I open up the ground for contributions, you would have bosses that are workaholics. I have a boss, and I tell people, I say, if you want to take a rest, don't tell him you have completed a task. The day you call him and say, sir, this is the progress, even if it is 80% completion rate that you have achieved, he nods his head. He sets the next agenda for you. I don't know if we have bosses like that. So you begin to understand that this person is an energetic person. This person doesn't want a dull moment. He's always thinking on his feet. He's always trying to put things in place. Okay? You have some team leaders. They are the people that will invite you, let's go for a drink. But some bosses, you can't stay on the same table with them to have a drink, because he feels, no, you can't, we are not on the same class. I can't, no. You have to find your space. But the sanguine leader doesn't count all of that to anything. He's happy to mingle with his subordinates. Oh, you say, my boss is a very nice person. In fact, he doesn't discriminate at all. He deals with everybody. So the point here is understand yourself. So again, I want to take you back to the first assignment. Who are you? What are you? And then to the second assignment, which is over 100%. What is my configuration? Am I this 50%? Am I 25% of all? Which is practically impossible, because as we are told in the introductory remarks by Ambassador Funke, there has to be a dominant one. There has to be one that shows forth beyond our configuration. So we are getting to the point where I'm going to be splitting us into rooms. I've already raised some of these. What personality type are you? Give examples of how you have reacted in the past and what are the key lessons. So what I will be doing now is that I will stop sharing my screen temporarily. Please, can I have the full screen mode, the full gallery? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to be breaking us up into rooms right now. When you get to your room, I need each person to have answered these questions. In your room, select a leader who will come back here after 5 minutes to make presentation of your group. Okay. So I would, so we have 31 persons. Let me make it quick, 5 rooms. So I'll just assign us to a room each. Okay. So please join your rooms now. Join your rooms now. Join your rooms now. Click on join room. Click on join room and join your rooms. Join your rooms. Have I not added? Okay. So I hope I've added everybody to a room.
Hello, can you hear me? 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 Can hear anything.
Okay. Yeah. At least we should have about 36 people coming back in. Okay, good. So let me leave it open. Which group wants to go first?
Sir, can we take it numerically?
No.
Okay, sir.
It's part of the exercise.
Group 4.
Go ahead.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Please, can we see your face if it's possible, if it's not dark where you are?
It is dark, but let me on the light.
Okay, no, you can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, actually, in group 4, due to network, we couldn't do much. But basically, the few of us that spoke, the dominant temperament, we are more of a choleric. Many of them, we are saying 60%, 50%. About 3% more of choleric there with a little mix of melancholy. And then for me, I think I'm more of a phlegmatic, 80%, with 20% melancholy. And that's what, because of network, we couldn't do much in our group. Probably as the training continues, we should be able to retreat and come up with something better, maybe either today or another day. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, next group.
Room 1.
Please go ahead.
Good evening, all. Happy to be here with you. Yes, what I learned in, I think I use myself as an example when I was talking. Then I learned that our temperaments, we can have initial temperaments, and which depends on the environment that we find ourselves. If the environment we find ourselves when growing, and the environment we find ourselves probably when we are married, can also determine our temperament. I was sharing when I was growing. I'm somebody that keeps to myself. I like to be in one place. I don't associate. In fact, you can't see my teeth open. But when I brought that into marriage, God helping me, I married in a woman parlor. So yeah, I had to go and fetch water outside. You know, coming from my family side, I keep to myself. I don't see my mother and father for about 2 weeks in the same environment. I run away from talking. But now that you are married, you want to fetch water and people have to help you. You have to greet people. You have to associate with people. Then I see that I started changing, talking to people, greeting. So from there, I found out that my temperament is changing, keeping to myself. You want to stay on your own because my husband doesn't even like me talking to people. But because if even I want to talk to my neighbor, I have to sneak to talk. But later I found out that I have started talking and my mom was like, Otin Soro. And I said, yes, mommy, Otin Soro. A friend of mine also came to my place of work one day and said, Lola, you are talking now. I said, yes. So from there, I had to now, I said, I now have a kind of attitude which I wasn't before. Now I know how to talk with people. And now I had to be this alaga of a thing. And I think I have changed. So somebody like me now, I can now associate with people freely. People will tell me I am bold. I'm not shy. I say I'm a shy person. No. I don't know how to stand in front of people. In fact, if I hold mic, I will be shaking. But because of the environment I find myself now, I can talk. I see myself being phlegmatic and sanguine now. You know, my kind of person being a melancholy has changed. Yes, drastically. I see myself 50% phlegmatic. I see myself 40% sanguine and 10% the melancholy that I was before. So I think the environment we find ourselves also have more to do. It has impacts in our temperaments and also maybe our religion also. But I think the environments have more effect of whom we are and our kind of temperament. Thank you.
Next group.
Okay, room 2. Good evening, everyone. Okay, in our group, we just have few people talking. Most people were mute. So we had about 4 people spoke. Everybody tended towards being a phlegmatic, and then only one person being a melancholic in all. But I will use myself as an example. I am a phlegmatic to the core, but I know I have a little bit of being a sanguine and then being a melancholic. So I love my comfort. I am an easygoing person. I am focused and most times I am relaxed. So with that, like these other persons spoke, our environment majorly, yes, contributes a lot to us. Most times you'll feel like I said I'm a phlegmatic, but when I'm in the midst of people that we can talk very well, I am a very playful person, very playful. But in all, we still find ourselves doing these things that will feel, okay, I won't be able to do this, I won't be able to do that. But when you are in an environment that enables you to do such, you would, I think you would come in and do what you feel you cannot do. Yes, thank you so much, sir.
Prof, sir, I want to bring to your attention, there's a question in the chat room.
Yeah, we'll go with the questions after. Let's take the last group presentation. Group 3. Precious, we are not hearing you if you're speaking.
Okay, good evening. I'm Precious. My group is a dominant personality. The dominant personality in my group are sanguine. We have choleric and we have melancholy. As for me, I'm of the melancholy, I'm very emotional. And at the same time, I happen to marry to a husband who is phlegmatic, who takes things very easy. So, and managing the two trends of being a melancholy and somebody who is phlegmatic, it has actually calmed my temper. For the environment influence, I'm from a family where we are very aggressive in approaching things. And I happen to get married to somebody who is cool-headed, calm, introvert, bottle his anger. But at the same time, I find myself blending. And I'm like a vessel of peace in my home because environmental influence really play a lot of roles in our temperaments. So that wasted much of our time. By this lecture or training this evening, we've been able to identify all the types of personality we are fitting. I believe we'll get to know more at the course of this training. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, can we have the full gallery? Can we have the full gallery at me? Don't spotlight me. Yes. I want the full gallery. Okay.
Okay, I've been mute. My video is out.
Yeah. Christy, Sylvia, were you saying something?
My video has been put off. I can't put it on myself. I've been disabled.
Admin, please.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Don't do that. All right.
Yes, do you want to say something, Christy, Sylvia?
No, my video is back. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good, good. So now, we've made some interaction in our groups. Who noticed something about the presentation of group one? Who noticed something about the presentation of group one? Group one identified as sanguine. What did you notice about their presentation? Who noticed something about the presentation of group one?
I think it was more detailed.
Okay, yes. Any other inputs? Yes, Precious. Dr. Donuts, you want to say something? Now, did you notice that group one identified as sanguines? And in the presentation, the presenter spoke about the eye. She gave examples of herself. She talked about herself. And that is the sanguine for you.
I
The
noticed
sanguine,
it.
because the sanguine is easygoing. The sanguine portrays at that moment. You notice about group 2, the phlegmatics. I was in that room. They were very calm. Everybody was thinking. It took a few people to talk. And you could see these reflections in group presentations. Okay. Now, what is key from the question somebody asked in the chat room? Can the environment change somebody?
Yes, sir.
I want to make a reference to the Bible. Pardon me if I'm going scriptural on that. But you remember that there was a character in the Bible that when God came to him, God had to take a coal and touch his tongue for him to be able to speak. Right? Remember, Gideon, when God came to Gideon, Gideon was a melancholic person who was withdrawn. Gideon was a melancholic person who was withdrawn, but needed an external influence to give him confidence, to push him to do things. You remember, so basically your environment has an impact in remodeling you. And the last set of my slides in the presentation speaks to that. That you do not live, you do not resign, you do not resign yourself. Yes, Obina. Can your dominant trait be changed? It depends on how you open up yourself, really. Your dominant traits can be modified, but to what extent it can be changed might be a question of balancing, right? The Igbo people will say that you cannot cut a rope and tie it together and it will maintain the same length. So in responding to that, your question, I would say it is not completely possible for your dominant trait to be changed completely. Traits can be suppressed. Traits can be suppressed. And that is why it is said that he who walks with the wise will be wise. And he didn't tell us what happens to he who walks with the fools. Right? He just told us that if you walk with wise people, you will be wise. So remember the fact that we are told to watch our communications and our relationships. People change drastically. So this question you raise brings to the fore the challenge of nature and nurture. And remember that this is a social science phenomenon, which we cannot come up with a definite and specific answer to, like we could do mathematically, right? So think of somebody like Moses, a Bible character who was reserved, who couldn't do anything for himself, right? But when God came to him, he said, that is stammerer. I can't even say anything. But when he was empowered, he moved. He started leading them. But his choleric nature came at a very bad time in his leadership history, where he became angry and broke and did, where he was asked to point. because of his anger and frustration. That suppressed trait in him arose. So in our activities to live in harmony with people, we need to work consciously. We need to take extra efforts. You know, in the beginning, Precious gave us an interesting conceptualization of temperament, where she talked about how we react. So in as much as our temperaments are innate, our reactions comes with a lot of hard work. And that is why we are in this space today. And we have identified that the 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours we have is not so sufficient to deal with this subject. But it's something that we are going to be able to go back in our personal closets and try to begin to work at. So some people will say that a closed mouth is a closed destiny. So will you pride yourself to say, oh, I'm an introvert? And then you come to a point where you're supposed to speak. You know, some personality traits, you know, a choleric, for example, will never be able to ask for help because he wants to do it himself. He doesn't want to be seen as somebody that has been assisted. I can figure it out, right? So these imbalances are always there. They always crop up. But we can, over time. I see Ambassador Funke has her hands up. Now, after you speak, I still want to go back to the class and take specific examples. I want us to give specific examples in our circles of different people. Try to pick an example. For example, you can pick me because you have interacted with me for the past 1 hour, 30 minutes. Who do you think I am? And then let's, for the next 30 minutes, we are going to be doing class examples. I picked on somebody, she's still here. Oh, I think she's left. I was going to pick on her. The screen name was Scan KY. Scan KY.
She's still here.
Okay, she's still here. She was. You could see her eat her chicken, do her thing. I mean, that's easy going. A choleric will be here with suits and tie. A choleric will be, this is an official meeting. But you see this sanguine, I mean, I can have my ice cream on the road. I don't care. Life is not all about, So Ambassador Funke, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Prof. I just want to quickly address, not directly the questions, but at least to address the issue of whether your temperament can be changed as a result of the environment or whatever. I mentioned in my opening charge that in the course of tonight's slides, we should also put it in mind that probably we get confused about this temperament because for real, our environment, not that it changes our temperament, but has great effects on our temperament. And I want to draw our attention to the fact that we should not mix temperament and personality together. They are two different things. Temperament is simply the way individuals react to situations. But personality is who you are. It means they're interwoven, but they are different. Personality can be described as the way people easily describe you or the way you can describe yourself. For example, they can say somebody is outgoing, somebody is shy. All these traits, they are in our temperament. But it's a combination of this that makes up the temperament. Now, I see the questions from G.O. And it starts by asking if the environment can change our temperament. Does temperament change with environment? Like I said, it's not that it changes. But what happens is, for example, a choleric is somebody that is a born leader. They are the leaders of any group. They become the leaders of whatever group they belong to. Not because the people in that group want them to be leaders, but that's their nature. If they are not leaders now, they will find their way to that top. And you know one thing about them, they are very strong leaders because they don't care about other people's opinion. This is not to, portray them as bad people, but this is just their strength. Not strength, but this is a predominant personality of people that have this temperament. They believe so much in themselves, and they actually are good leaders because they believe in themselves. And when they see challenges, they don't see it as challenges. They see it as things they need to do. And because of the kind of person they are, they don't give up. They don't care what you think in that group. They don't want to know whether you agree with them or not. But the point is, if a matured choleric understands that I don't listen to my team, but I am a great leader. If by maturity, growing up and having people that you respect around you, telling you that these are the things you do and it's not very healthy, it does not mean that you will change, but you will calm down, still be yourself, but you will now channel. And the essence of this particular seminar is for us to identify our temperament, especially to now know the weaknesses, the ones that looks like, oh, this is not encouraging. This is not very acceptable. This is somehow not very good, because you will know. To build on your strengths and work on your weaknesses, it's all about balance. It's like Professor was saying. It's about you minimizing your weaknesses and maximizing your strengths. So that is why a choleric will actually make a very great leader by the time he becomes a matured choleric. So most of the time, it is not because that temperament, especially the dominant one. For example, the lady that's, I'm sorry, I forgot the name now. The lady that gave the example that she used to be calm, and people now start saying she now talks, and she's actually, because I was in the class at the time when she was talking, she actually, somebody that was not talking when she was growing up. Now, she's now Alaga Idro, as in all this, the people that MCs. You can imagine the contrast. And I said to her, I said in her own case, she became intentional about what she wants to do. And you will see that when she was growing up, that calmness could be that wasn't her. It could be because she said it openly, so I'm free to say it. She said she grew up in a place where she doesn't see her parents, and she married in a different circumstance, into a different circumstance. So the circumstance that changed brought out the real person in her. You can imagine the children from an abused home, even if they are sanguine, you won't have the opportunity to express their temperament. But you will notice it in them if you take your time to study it. I want to talk about I'm sorry if I'm taking this far. I'm going to the last thing that the GO said, the person that used the name GO, he said, I'm a victim of somebody that, I'm paraphrasing now. I'm a victim of somebody, I can't see it. I'm a victim of a lady who suddenly changed. Currently, my marriage is at the verge of breaking. One thing we also have to understand is that, especially when it comes to marriage, most of the time we think is a person that is a problem. The other person thinks is a person that is a problem. But I need you to understand, this may not be 100% accurate, but in this situation, of course, this is not a marriage seminar anyway. But when a situation happens like this, it may not be as a result of temperament. It could be an environmental influence. It could be something else, especially when it has to do with marriage. It is seriously a different ball game entirely. You understand? Oh. So what I'm trying to say is that temperament doesn't change, but you can work on it when you become matured and you understand. And this is one of the aim of this seminar, that you go from here, understand that, oh, I'm a choleric. So really, this is why I don't listen to other people's opinion. That's not very nice. Then you go back and say, okay, even though I have done well for myself, I'm a group leader and I'm a good group leader. I need to take it easy and begin to listen to my team and see if they have something in their head. I just use that as an example so that I won't take over the whole of the evening. I hope I've been able to answer part of the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that explanation. So, I'm going to call Scan KY to share her thoughts and give us clear examples where she has used her temperament nature before and how she tried to manage such situation to sustain a harmonious living. So I can call randomly, please. Be ready. Yes, Ken.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I might not be able to talk now because I joined the class pretty late. I joined the class almost when you are sharing us to group. So I'm just trying to pick from how people have been saying. I don't really understand the different kind of temperament that we have yet. So I can't really talk much on it. I actually missed the time, so I joined very late.
Okay.
Yes.
Madam Funke.
And I will appreciate it that it's a slide for me to read because I actually need this training. I'm a temperamental person a bit. I can tell you a bit about myself. Maybe you'll be able to tell me which of I fit in because I won't lie to you. I joined very late. That was when you were about sharing us to classrooms.
Okay, beautiful. So if you're happy, we can use you as a case study. Tell us about yourself, and then we get other people in the class to comment on what they think. Yeah?
Okay. I'm a very, very outgoing person. But I like my private life. But in temperament, sometimes when you say something, I get angry, especially if it's offensive. I get angry, but I have to just calm myself down. I'm the kind of person that I'm involved in so many things, as in activities. I lead so many things. I can do things alone as a one-woman battalion. So why I actually joined this training because I'm trying to be able to calm my temperament. So that's why I joined the training, to be able to know the kind where I fit in and where I can control it when necessary.
Okay. Deborah Fumilayo Yaya, can you speak to Scan? Please, admin unmute Deborah.
Everybody can unmute themselves, actually. Yes.
Okay. Yes, Deborah.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
My one observation on our own this temperament is she's somehow melancholy. Yes, a little bit. And choleric, no, I can't say that. But sanguine she is. That is how I can rate her.
I see Adeoti shaking her head in disagreement.
No, because we share the same thing. I can say we share the same thing.
Okay, so Adeoti, what do you think?
Thank you very much, sir. I see more of choleric in her. Unlike you, mommy, she's more of a choleric because I married a choleric husband. So I see her of more choleric. Choleric in her, I think, is if I would give her 90%. And I say the sanguine in her to be 10%. She's more choleric to sanguine. I don't see any melancholy in her at all. And I don't see any phlegmatic traits in her also. 90% choleric, 10% sanguine. Thank you, class.
Okay, please, can I have the gallery? Madam Funke, do you want, okay, Abiodun Olabisi, do you want to say something? Unmute yourself, please.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, I joined about 10 minutes ago now. I was a bit having issues with my phone. I have to set it up and do everything before I came in. So I didn't hear you talk at all. I think Madam Golden Habitat Academy, I don't know her name, sorry, pardon me. I heard what she was explaining, or that was where I came in.
Okay, fine. Let's hope you will pick up. Irene wants to say something. Irene, please.
Yeah, hi, so good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
Okay, I came in a bit late. It was when they closed the class, but I can only pick one or two things that people are saying about characters and all that. And I really did not really get the topic. I just heard of sanguine and the other temperaments, but I have not really gotten it. So I would really like to know more, because I myself, I really want to know about those characters. You understand?
Okay, Madam Funke.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Sorry, my selfie camera is bad. I would say I'm more of a sanguine because I'm a smooth talker. I can really take a space, you know. I'm very easygoing and I'm very accessible. People access me very easily. Sometimes it's a problem with my partner, you know. Then a little of phlegmatic too. I get frustrated when I can't have peace. You know, I like harmony. I love harmony. Harmony is key for me. Peaceful, you know. I can be very supportive too, but where I'm doing it and I'm being misunderstood, it gets really frustrating and I get aggressive. So I don't know if that aggressive part of it can be classified as being choleric. I don't know, but I really, you know, get frustrated when I can't, you know, achieve that peace I'm trying to I desire so much. Harmony is key for me. But you know, when the other party or the other people, they are not seeing it your way, because everybody come to me, they want to, people come to me, I allow you talk, and I always have an answer, you know, for whoever. But when it comes to me and I can't get that peace, it gets really, really frustrating, and I just want to give up. I just want to walk away, if I can't get that peace. So that's why I said that I have a little of the 3 or the 4.
Okay.
I don't know if it's so, but from the way I've spoken, I won't mind that criticism. I won't mind, somebody saying, no, it's like this or it's like that, but this is just me. Harmony is key for me.
Thank you, Madam Funke. Yes, Gio, can we hear you?
Okay, thank you once again, sir. The question you asked is, how has a temperament helped you in life and how you manage? Okay, actually, I work in a place. I'm one of the management members. We had my superior. He tried to explain different kinds of leaders and all that. One of them, I'm kind of merciful. A merciful someone. I can show mercy. I can lean. I can eat. I can do anything for people. So when I suggested to the man, I would prefer easygoing type leader that try to understand, showing empathy and kind of counter me. Told me it won't work. Now the truth of the matter is that in the course of 2-3 years in my place of work, I've realized that my original temperament, being understanding, giving people long rope, trying to understand every situation, even most times I go out of my way to solve problems. I noticed that it won't help anyone in that organization. I noticed that probably people are being deceptive, giving reasons for not doing what they ought to do. So at that point, I have to switch to what someone can call in between autocratic and democratic setting, just for the work to be done. So I can say that my real person, easygoing and all that, but in a workplace, I noticed that human nature, if you want it to be, nothing will move, nothing will work. At that point, I switched to the other side of me in order to get things done. Of course, sometimes people will complain, people will say all manner of things, but when it is clear before God and man what he intends to do, and for the fact that the job will be done, so far so good, we are pushing on. Thank you, sir.
I mean, of course, that is the choleric aspect of your traits. You want to be strict, you want to see it done. And do not forget that if we need to get things done, we need to know what is correct in what you're doing, is that you know the appropriate time that you apply these traits to get things done. And that is why we need to be adaptive. Like I said, this is a social science-based concept. There is no definite answer. You can only try to understand. You can only try to appreciate. Like for scan, you see the fact that you're irritated, but you're able to put it behind you, speaks to your sanguine nature. And that was the first thing I picked about you. Okay? You want to get things done. And that is, it's not as if the sanguine is not a leader also. The sanguine is a leader, but he doesn't want to spend time. He's a sharp person. I want to get it done and I want to move on. And that is why you see you're a one-woman riot. You just, but the choleric leader wants to do it himself, wants to take the glory himself, wants to be seen as having done it himself. But for you as a sanguine, You come into the scene, you see it, you do it, and you're off. People might even be looking, who did this, who did that? You're not interested in taking the praises. Okay, so it's not a bad trait. Somebody was asking that what happens when you tell somebody something and the person gives it multiple interpretations. The person is thinking, the person is reflecting. You don't have anything in mind. What traits have we described as the deep thinker? So remember now that I have said specifically, do not analyze yourself from other people, but analyze yourself primarily. The problem is not with the person thinking multiply. Now that you understand that the person has a trait to think multiply, the person might be doing that thinking not because he has anything against you or anything. The person is just being careful. He doesn't want to take risk. Like me as a person. If you come to me now with a business opportunity that will give me 1 billion naira the next moment, I like money, but I would think, hey, what if this happens? What if that happened? You know, I remember there was a business opportunity that I was going to get into with somebody. And we were online watching the scenario, seeing how everything was happening. The person was like, hey, we can't take the risk. How much are we going to lose if it doesn't work? But that's nature in me. Losing that 1 naira, I was going to be angry with myself that I didn't think deep enough to know that there was a loss here. And truth to type, 48 hours, it's all this online marketing where they tell you, oh, you can invest in this. I'm very sure if we invest, you're going to make this money. And I didn't leave that group. I was in that group. Somebody even came and said, oh, I invested $5,000. I've made this amount. I've made that amount. Somebody told me, bros, this thing is working. But after 48 hours, they say, thank God you were thinking the way you were thinking. Okay? So when people think, understand that it is a trait that is coming to play. They are thinking not because they want to do something against you, but also because they want to protect themselves. I see the hand of Joshua Gabriel up. After Joshua Gabriel, we can have Olatubo Tayo.
Yes, hello, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here, and I've actually learned a lot being here, and I've discovered a lot about myself too. So I left for a while, then I came in. I just came back in. Then I heard you talking about everyone talking about how their personality traits has been able to help them and strength and weaknesses. So me by default, I'm a sanguine person, but I'm also phlegmatic. Okay, my sanguine nature has been able to help me in the area of entertainment, and because I'm an instrumentalist, and again, I speak and I flow with people. But and again, that was able to make me be the president of my department in school. That was not because of but just because of the nature that I speak with a lot of people and they just flow and everybody just the popularity and everything. But at times the weaknesses that I face is that at times I find it very, very, except I'm hell-bent that I really want to do something, I really don't have the flair to really focus, because I just do what I feel I enjoy doing. like personally to me, I do anything I enjoy doing. And if I don't enjoy doing it, I just like give it a break, then probably come back to it. So those are that's one of the things I'm struggling with, like personally. And again, at times I can be reserved too. I think depending on the place that I'm in, or depending on the particular moment, at times I just don't like noise, or I just like being alone. Then when it's time for me to talk or to like mix up people, I can mix up people. So at times it's kind of like confusing and all of that. So that's just what I've experienced, like personally, from what I've heard now, and like from the personality traits that I think I am. Yeah, thank you.
Great. I will come back to you, Gabriel. Tubos, can we hear from you?
Sir, good evening, sir, and good evening, everybody. I'm very excited to be in this meeting this night. Sorry, I came in late because I went for a camp program. I just came back, and one thing I want to raise is I find it very difficult to understand, where I actually belong in terms of temperament. But I know that I have some character, and some of these characters are, I think, very deep. Before I address issue, I think very deep. And another thing is, I'm not easily satisfied. I love to do things, in a perfect way. And when others do it for me, it will only take the grace of God for me to, accept it. And also, at times, I find it easy to relate with people, but not like a sanguine, somebody that is a sanguine. But there's nobody I cannot face, to relate with. The confidence is always there by the grace of God, and more like that. So I want to know which category I actually, belong to. So that's why I raised my hand up. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Oluwayemisi.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Okay, so I find it very difficult to really understand my temperament. So I know that I am this quiet person. I like my space a lot. I want to be alone. In fact, I get bored in the midst of people most times, especially except for my very, very close friends. Even at that, I get bored. I just want to be in my space. And when I'm in the midst of people, it just happens that whatever it is I do, the leading trait is always is so dominant that I just see myself lead people, even when it's not something I want to do, even when I do not talk about it. People get to let me say, I get noticed easily. People get to say, okay, do this, please lead us, please do this. In fact, I was going to present for my group before network did its thing, and then I was not. In fact, I think you spoke to me that I should do that and all that too. And then now I get to, okay, the example that was trying to, I think I didn't compose that message very well. I'm this kind of person that if you tell me something, or I'm going to tell you something, I had thought about it in 10 different ways. Like if I'm going to ask you a question, for example, I've thought of your responses before I even ask you. So if I'm going to do something to you, probably I want to hit you at your back, I've thought about what your reactions will be. And if you were to do it to me, how would I have reacted to what you did to me? So I don't just do things because I feel like doing them. I would have thought about it. This thing, if you do it to me, how would I react? If I will not get angry, then I'll do it to you. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I get to think, in fact, some people, the people that knows me very, very well calls me Tinkerbell because I think a lot, like I think on things a lot. So it gets confusing how I could, okay, when I'm in a space, I can talk, like I can talk. Even though I get tired, my jaws ache when I talk for long. So that's why I don't like talking. But then I find out that I can easily explain things to people. I can easily do this. But then I get confused. I don't even know where I belong, because when you think of all these traits, I have like all of them. So I don't know. So I just want to understand. Thank you very much, sir.
Sorry, we can't hear you, sir.
Dr. Donald, please, you have the floor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. My name is actually Ego. So I'm more of a quiet person, yes. Let me just say a little bit about myself. I'm on the quiet side, very quiet side. Even before I talk to people, try to maybe advise, or I try unless not to make them feel bad. It's always my priority and all that, not to offend people. But sometimes just that quiet nature, I get to move away from it a little. Like maybe I don't know if we have time to give some examples. As it is, I had one something. In fact, there's one at hand now. So the person was like, that this is not me, that he knows me to be, but all of a sudden, why am I acting like this? So I was like, for the fact that I'm the quiet and the reserved person, doesn't mean that when needs be, I have to be a little bit, let's say short, let's put it short tempered now. And he said, no, that it's not you. And not that you can do that. I said that, yes, I know, but the way it is now, I can't go back. This is how it's going to be and all that. Then I try to, when it comes to being in garden, maybe in the garden that I don't know people, I'm always quiet. Perhaps if I'm with people that I'm familiar with, I would. But if I'm in a garden that maybe I'm invitation, maybe I'm not too familiar, I'm always, if I'm in a garden of people I'm not familiar with, I'm always reserved. Anywhere I'm always reserved, except if I'm in the midst of people I'm familiar with. Even in my, let's say, even the work that I do, the work I do, at least to an extent, it just exposing me a little bit, but I still have that trait of being the quiet and the reserved type in almost everything I do, except if need be, maybe it's something I cannot really stand. I can just divert a little. Sometimes when I divert, I will tend to go back and say, this is not me. I'm the quiet and the reserved type. For now, that's all I have to say.
Thank you for that. So from her description of the title, you see she's a travel agent, and then she's the quiet type, but the work is trying to improve her, because if you're not outgoing, if you're not talking, so you find out that being outgoing doesn't mean being loud necessarily. Perhaps she has a style of communication that attracts a client base to her, And Gabriel, what is interesting in what you have done? I have a student that I was hoping he would be in this class today, that I had to embarrass openly in class, because I discovered in him a very great leadership trait. But his choleric nature was going to destroy him. Today, he's basically my leading research assistant. We have very great relationship. But he came back after to come and say, thank you, sir. Because this was a young man that could move his class. He could do a lot of things. And then he goes to his WhatsApp status. He says, I did this. You see, we need to be able to walk ourselves to the point of understanding our collegiate nature, of understanding how we relate with people. So as the president of your class, or your department, people flocks to you because they know you can do it and because you don't take the glory. So even in your reserved nature, people identify you. This workshop was to last for 2 hours, and I think we've gone some time past 2 hours. It's an interesting one. I will share my slides and notes with Ambassador Fatoba, and I'm sure this conversation should continue. I wish us all well. We all want to live in peace. The Bible says, follow peace with all men and owe no man nothing but love. Congratulations for being part of this, and I hope you have learned something that will help you have better relationship going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you have been blessed, I mean, yes, that's my language. Permit me, if you have really been blessed and this has really empowered you, because that's the essence of this. Let's give dear professor a clapping ovation. I mean, virtual clapping ovation for those of us that know how to use the virtual clapping. And you just do it, yes, like that. He has done a big, beautiful, wonderful work. Actually, yes, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, thank you. We could continue, but because we said this is going to be for 2 hours, we want to really maintain 2 hours. But I want to use this opportunity to say to us that we have done well, all of us that are here, and I'm glad that it has not been a waste of time. Thank you so much for joining. So that we are carried along. I didn't introduce myself when we started, and that was deliberate because I wanted more people to be here. So I'm going to do that so that at least those that do not know me will know me. We already know our professor, even though some of us don't know him yet. I introduced him before he came in. Professor Azubike is a professor of law. You must have heard from probably his presentation, some of the things if you picked it. And it's my mentor, and I mean, it's somebody I respect and admire so much. This is Golden Mabis Facts Academy bringing you the seminar this evening. We are glad that you are here. I don't know particularly where you got this invitation from, because this was sent out to some of the facilitators, because I know that the participants in this class are not just from Golden Mabis Facts Academy. So if you have been invited by another facilitator, that's great. Please stay, still in your class and do everything you need to do. And I also want to say to those that joined through other means, maybe you don't belong to any of our academy and you like what we do, because this is going to be continuous. For example, what we are doing tonight has a part 2. This particular topic has a part 2, and it's going to come as understanding temperament, but in a specific way. Now, this is like a foundation, as like an introduction to a series, not so long series anyway. If this first first one can be like this, you can imagine how the other ones will be. We are going to be focusing on marital relationships in our next edition of Understanding Temperament. And maybe you are here, you are thinking you are not married yet. In fact, I think it's even better for those that are not married yet to understand this topic, so that before you go into it, you know where you are going into. And of course, for those that are married already, you should know that, yes, you need to understand who you are married to. So please, if you don't belong to any class, and I mean it, if you don't belong to any of our academy yet, we have quite a number, please, and you like what we are doing, contact me on this number. It's there already. 3+3168701865. Just send me a message of interest so that we can add you to the main academy, because this is just one out of many, many things that we do. For example, very soon also we'll be having a seminar on youth empowerment. Like you can see on the screen, Youth Empowerment Summit. And we know that, like my main mentor will say, that all of us, we are all youth. It's going to be youth empowerment towards an inclusive development Africa, understanding the landscape and emerging pedagogies. So contact me so that, I mean, we have lots of things to share with us. Contact me, please, on this number so that we can add you to our community. And I want to also say to us that for those that have been asking for the slides and for the slides, I just want to inform us, because I don't know if you got the full information about the seminar tonight. We put it out there that the material, the resource material, the notes, we have a comprehensive note for this, the recorded version for today, and the slide from Professor Zubike will be shared. And the certificate of participation, take note, certificates of participation, making, I think, about 4 things now, but at a processing cost of 3,000, sorry, is it 3,000? Sorry, the currency is 3,000 Naira. So contact your facilitator to pay the amount if you are interested, and you will get these materials. Yes, that's and I want to use this opportunity to say, except I have anybody that has the last question so that I don't just cut us off, I can give a 1 minute grace for not a question, but a comment, a recommendation or something, so that we can, in 2 minutes or whatever, close.
I have a question.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Question,
go ahead.
Okay, my question is, how do you place somebody that is an introvert and an extrovert? How do you place their temperaments?
Madam Adelsi, I really truly want us to, because if you go into questions, that was why I changed it from saying questions to recommendation or observation, because if you go into questions, we are really not going to finish. It's just like discussing marriage, you understand? So I will suggest, like Prof has a link, like he has informed me, that will help most of us to really answer so many of the questions that we have in mind. So the link will also be in the resource materials. So maybe that will be a reason, apart from the fact that the materials are quality and comprehensive ones, a reason for you to want to acquire that material. So please.
The audio is not speaking. Can't hear.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Okay, can everybody hear me? Because I think he said he was not hearing me. So
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So because we have to close, permit me, Madam Adelsi, and if you don't mind, you can reach out to me. That's my number. And if it's Prof wants to answer your question, I'm sure you'll be willing to do that behind the scene so that we can close, because many of us have plans after the specified, hours that we have already said we're going to do this. So please permit me to say that will be handled maybe some other time. Thank you so much. We are glad you are here, and we hope to see you again in our next seminar. God bless you. Share the good news with others and invite people to join us. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, ma. Thank you
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Pleasant night.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.